and it is Hooker's Corner. I don't know if you can say vintage Hooker's Corner. This is from a long... Hey everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 55 of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2020, so happy St. Patrick's Day, or late St. Patrick's Day to everybody. And it is a gloomy day here. It's about 9:30 in the morning, and I have to say I am pretty happy that I get to podcast in the morning, because I just feel like it's special, it's different. It's like morning time is just different for me, so I'm excited for that. My husband is still asleep. I think he could be working, I'm not sure. And Toaster has been up and down the stairs watching me this morning. I had an 8 a.m. virtual meeting for work on my computer, and he was watching me the whole time. But now I think he's gone back up to bed. But yeah, it is kind of gloomy here today in North Texas, cloudy, and I don't know, kind of a little bit chilly, which I appreciate because it was like 80 degrees, which is a little hot for March. I'm just wearing like my favorite sweatshirt today. My mom got me this for Christmas. It's my like favorite color of the year, and it's got a kangaroo pouch, which is perfect for putting in a ball of yarn and knitting, which I have been known to do a lot lately. But let's dive into this podcast. I will have more like life chat and things at the end of the episode. So yeah, let's just dive right in. Okay, so I don't have any finished objects this week, but I have one WIP that I have put like so much time into. I've ignored all of my other ones, so maybe I will have a WIP very, very soon. I guess I will share too that I am drinking some coffee out of this color changing mug that was my husband's, and it's Harry Potter themed, so it's got Mischief Managed and it has the Marauders, I don't know how to say it, I always say Marauders map, but it's a hard word for me to say, so that's why you can see my coffee is filled up to here. So I'll probably drink like 2 sips of that and warm it up later here. But yes, so I have 3 WIPs going, 2 which I have mostly ignored, which I will show you first, and 1 which I have put so much work on because I'm absolutely addicted to it. If you are following me on Instagram, you probably have seen it already. And do I even want to say this? I have been working on a design, which was in here, so let me just set it to the side. But it's not ready for testers yet. I'm not really sure what the timeline is going to be on that, so I'm not even going to show you yet, but eventually, hopefully, I will have a design or maybe a few going here very soon. Okay, so these are my March socks, which so lovely. I am like halfway through one of the sides, but here's my progress since last week. Oops. So I have really not been working on my socks, clearly. I think because socks for me are like out of the house knitting, and I haven't been out of the house. So I really need to get to work on these. These are Knitted Wit Victory Sock, and I have the label, and the colorway is Felicia Cakes. So I picked this colorway for March because my birthday is in March, and I thought it looked like birthday cake. And I have a cute little birthday cake progress keeper from Sucre Miniatures that has almost exactly the same colors like confetti cake. So I love it so much. But I have seen on Instagram that there is a sock knitting challenge. I think it's to knit a pair of socks in a week, and I cannot find the hashtag for the life of me. So if I find the hashtag between now and editing, I'll try to put it at the bottom, but I think it was something like Sock Knitting Challenge 2020 or something like that. But a pair of socks in a week is a lot for me, and I love knitting socks. So maybe I can just try to finish up this sock here. I did share last week, I believe, that I feel like this yarn is a little thicker than what I normally work with, and so I feel like my sock is coming out bigger. So I really need to try this on barefoot and just see if it's worth continuing, or if I should start over with maybe a bigger needle size. I use one, a 2.25 millimeter. So if I should start over with a bigger needle and fewer stitches just to get more of the fit that I like. But we'll see. I really need to hunker down and do that here. But like I said, I have a whip that's stealing all of my attention. So yeah, that one really didn't get worked on too much. And then I've got another one that I started like last week. Well, right before last week. And I have done a little more on that than the socks. Here's my progress keeper. So I've done like not even an inch, but several rows here. This is the Traveler's Loop by Dawn Barker. And it's just a garter stitch infinity scarf. And I'm using two colors. This one is, I believe, Malabrigo. Let's see. Malabrigo in the color, I have two Malabrigo tags here, in the colorway Water Green. And then my other one is not that. Oh yeah, I don't have a label for this one because I still haven't figured out the color. It's Ching Fiber, but I'm not really sure what the colorway is. And I can't remember, and I don't know where the tag is. So that one's just a mystery for right now. But this is a really fun way to learn how to helical knit if you're not familiar. So helical knitting is just a way to knit in the round without creating a jog or like a visible line at the beginning of round. And basically you just slip your stitches when you change colors. It's a little more than that, but it's not hard at all, and it just creates this seamless scarf. So it's really fun. It's a lot easier to do in two colors than it was when I learned it for my sweater when I did Tanya, and I was just alternating my yarns. So this is really, really cool, and I am enjoying working on it. I guess a little more than my socks because I have worked on it just a little bit. So that's the Traveler's Loop. And then lastly is my favorite whip of all. Oh my gosh, I am loving this so much. I have spent most of my mornings every day because last week was spring break. And I had just woke up every morning excited to get downstairs, and I just turn on the TV, put something on YouTube, and work on this project for a little bit. I worked on it at night a little bit too, but at night sometimes I watch TV shows with my husband Kent, and so that's when I would work on my Traveler's Loop so I could pay attention to the show. So this was a really good morning project. But look, I have made so much progress. Here's my marker on that one, my progress keeper. And I have made tons of progress since then. So let me show you the yarns first. Well, no, I'll tell you the name of the project. So this is Golden Willow by Leslie Ann Robinson, who is Knit Graffiti. And it is a shawl. It's a brioche shawl. And it takes 3 colors. So I am using, I think I did keep the labels out for these, 2 and 3. So I've got 3 different companies and 3 different colors. My main color here is one of my favorite pinky colors, and it is Hooker's Corner. I don't know if you can say vintage Hooker's Corner. This is from a long time ago. And the colorway is Lover's Lane there. And then my color B, my medium color, is Dream in color Jilly, and that colorway is Lavender Bloom. And then my last one, my dark color, and I'm snapping these back into place. Unsnap. Okay, my last one is Malabrigo again, Machita, and the colorway is Renaissance. Those labels really don't come off pretty at all when they're like that. And I'm keeping it all together, of course, as always, in my float tote. That's the 3 skein size. So let me show you this project in a little more detail and kind of tell you why I am loving it so much. So you start off on the small end, and you're doing all these different textural brioche stitches. So this is the single color honeycomb, the 2 color honeycomb. This is called 2 color pearl. and then I went into moss stitch, I believe, and then a 3-color moss. And that's really interesting with all 3 colors. They just kind of blend together. Now, I put these colors together, these 2 colors, the pink and the dark, are the ones that I was the most excited to see used together, because the speckles in them, they really just like pick up on each other. They just have like those same colors in there, and they are just, I love them. They're so pretty together. So I'm excited to be in just what I would say like general brioche section. Of course, there are like increases and decreases, some of which I've never done before. They're very, very fun going on here to make this really cool, I guess, like willowy type pattern. So the shawl is pretty cool. You do start at the small point increase, and then this whole middle section here, I'm gonna have 3 different panels that look like this, but change color, and they do not change. The stitch count doesn't change. No more shaping right now. So it's gonna be so pretty. I love these 2 colors together. I think they look so, so cool. It's a little harder, I think, to see this side, just a little bit, but this is the main side. So where the light color is on top is the knit stitches. And it looks so cool, and it is so much fun to do. So luckily, even though it looks like you would have to concentrate on every single row, in this section that I'm in right now, there's a increasing and decreasing row, and then there's about 6 or 7 kind of like rest rows where you're just doing brioche. So it's actually been a really good project while I'm on like meeting calls, as long as I get through the increase and decrease first. And of course, I do have to look when I'm doing brioche knitting. I cannot brioche knit without looking. I think that would be an impressive skill to gain. I am a little worried about size for this, because it's not I'm actually hitting the measurements in the schematic, but it does seem kind of small to me. Like that's the whole, one wing, and then I'm halfway through this already. So think of this times 6, that's the middle, and then another section like that. So I think when I block it, I'm really gonna be stretching it out lengthwise so that I get enough of something that I can wrap it around my neck. Like, so I said, I'm hitting the measurements in the schematic, but I just don't know, I've never made something this shape before, so I'm interested to see how I will enjoy it. I did go down a needle size because my one skein is only 70 grams because I've used it before, and I wanted to make sure I wouldn't run out. So I am weighing that often to make sure that I will make it all the way through the shawl. So fingers crossed for me that I will make it. But again, I am hitting the schematics, so I think I'm making the right gauge and the right size here. So yeah, Golden Willow, highly, highly, highly recommend this pattern if you're looking for something fun and interesting to do. If you already know how to do regular brioche, you should be okay. There's videos for the different types of stitches that you can go watch. And I took a class from Leslie Ann Robinson at the Knitting in the Hills retreat, and so I was able to learn all of those stitches directly from her, which was super, super cool. But yeah, that's it as far as my knitting goes this week. I'll try to be a little more well-rounded in the next week, so I have some more progress to show you on other things. Okay, let's dive into some questions here. I only have 2 questions left in the Ravelry thread, so if you have questions for me, definitely head over to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group and go to the Ask Me thread and throw some questions in there. Give me something interesting to talk about here. So I'm going to answer these 2 questions today. So the first one is from Fuller930, and I did not click on your name. Let's see, what is your name? Oh, I don't know. It's not in your About Me. Okay, Fuller930 says, "Good morning, Natalie. I'm new to knitting, very new, but I'm an avid crocheter and I'm currently making your playtime shawl. It's adorable. But as I'm starting to get into knitting and know the basic stitches, what are some great projects you'd suggest for someone who's learning? It's been very hard to know where to start, and honestly, I don't really want to make scarves because I too live in Texas and they just aren't very necessary here." So true. Thank you so much for your great podcast. It really is fun to watch, and I'm always listening to hear what local yarn store you mention, so that when I trek over to the DFW area every few months, I can try to stop in somewhere new. There just isn't much where I live, and it's fun to find these new places. Okay, well, if I haven't mentioned it before, I love McKinney Knittery. That's my favorite local yarn store, McKinney Knittery. I will drive an hour because that's how far away I live from McKinney Knittery. And then there's also West 7th Wool, which is not too far. It's like half an hour from me in Fort Worth, and it is amazing as well. So I love those two, highly recommended if you're in the area. If you're north, go to McKinney Knittery. If you're west of Dallas, go to West 7th Wool. If you have a lot of time, go to both because they're both worth it. Whoops, I'm sorry. I am getting tangled up in my mic, making things crazy. There we go. So let's talk about some pattern suggestions. So I know you said that you don't want to knit scarves, which I understand, but how do you feel about shawls? Because I feel like shawls are different, because shawls you can like put over you kind of like you're wearing a blanket at home. I don't know, I wear shawls even living in Texas. So to me, shawls are great. I love knitting shawls, and I think a shawl would be a really good place to kind of transition into so that you can learn how to shape and read a pattern before you go into something like a garment. So that would be, if you want to make shawls, which maybe you do because you're crocheting the playtime shawl, I would definitely move into some shawls. I have one of my simplest patterns is Louisiana Street. It would be a really great first shawl if you know knitting and purling. And then I'm trying to think of other patterns that I know off the top of my head. I would just go to like Ravelry and go to the most popular patterns in different categories. And typically the patterns that are at the top of the list are quite simple, or like the simplest in their category, because they are so like that's kind of what makes them so popular, is that like they're really clearly written and easier to knit. So that's definitely a strategy, but I would say go from making something that's not shaped, like it's just a square or rectangle, to making something that is shaped like a shawl. Or you could transition into making something in the round. So knitting a hat is a really good next step. When I used to work at a local yarn store, we would go from a scarf to a hat class. The stitches are pretty much the same, but you are working in the round, which is actually easier than you think. And then you get to learn how to decrease at the top of the hat. So that's a really good next step for you. And then what else? Honestly, if you just want to practice different stitch patterns, you could just make dishcloths on dishcloths and like practice, like Google or go into a book and look at different kinds of stitch patterns so that you can practice knitting and purling together. You can practice cables, you could practice lace, and it won't just feel like swatching because you can make cotton dishcloths. So if that's something you like to do, that would be another great next step there. So yeah, just explore. It's really fun. I'm so excited that you're learning to knit, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the playtime shawl. That one really is a lot of fun to crochet. Okay, the next question, or actually this is my last question here, is from the Dancing Needle, and that is Amy Kate. And she says, hi Natalie, I have a couple of questions for you. Okay, one, this is a tad more personal, so no pressure to answer. I'm just curious. I know you were a ballerina for many years as a child and teen. When and how did you decide to quit? I myself danced ballet for many years, age 9 to 16, and stopped because my teacher moved away. Do you still dance now? How did your parents react? Again, just curious. And then she has a second question that's yarn related, but I'm gonna stop and answer that one first. My throat is very croaky in the morning. It doesn't know how to warm up to the mornings. Okay, so I started ballet lessons, I think when I was 4 or 5 years old. My mom put me in dance class, just for fun, and I took probably ballet tap combination or something. And from there, I wouldn't say that I was hooked on it right away. I remember when I was 8 or 9, I really wanted to quit ballet because my ballet teacher was so strict. And at the time, I just thought she was like mean, but really she was a very, very good and disciplined teacher, very quality teacher. But I was like 9 years old or in 3rd grade or whatever, so I didn't really want to be a part of that. So I just wanted to do jazz and hip hop. And my mom said, if you are going to dance, you have to take ballet. It is the foundation of all the techniques and all the steps. I don't know how she knew that because she was not a dancer, but somehow she knew that, and she fought for me to continue ballet. She talked to the director of my dance school. We were not a competition school. We were like very much focused on technique, and we had like a recital at the end of the year. But it was a really, really quality school. And so she talked to the director, who was super scary, and she came and talked to me and was like, now Natalie, if you want to continue, you need to do ballet. And so of course I said yes, because I was so scared. But that ended up being a really good thing, because then I really developed my ballet skills, and that ended up being what I was like best at and most inclined to do. So I learned, how to dance on point several years later when it was appropriate. And then eventually the whole group of us, there was about 5 of us that were advancing with our teacher would danced, I think, for the Nashville Ballet. And so she would just keep making more levels of classes for us. And eventually it got to be where we were the only 5 people in class. And it didn't really make like financial sense for the studio to continue to teach us. So all of us as a group, my teacher included, moved to the Nashville Ballet, which is really crazy. It's kind of like dramatic, like those like dance shows and stuff. And so that was when I was about 14 or 15. So anyway, all of that to say that this was like, dancing was not just a hobby for me. It was a lifestyle. Ballet was my life. When we, during those years, like that 13 to 15 range, that whole group, we would go down to Atlanta, and we would every spring, I think, and we would audition for summer intensives at different ballet studios. So I spent a summer with the Atlanta Ballet for like 6 weeks when I was 13, studying and taking ballet classes all day long. And then this next summer I did the same thing in Houston. That was the first time I'd ever been to Texas. The second time I came to Texas was when I moved here, and I haven't left since. So I don't know what it is about Texas. But yeah, ballet was my life. I honestly thought that I was not going to go to college. I thought that I would continue on my ballet journey and eventually join a company and be a professional ballerina. That's what I thought. And I don't know exactly, there wasn't like a one moment when that dream started to change, but there was a time where I was auditioning again for those summer intensives, and I didn't make it. Like, I had been advancing and being like really good and keeping up with my age group for so long and with my like skills. And then eventually I started to fall behind. I wasn't advancing anymore. And so I didn't make it into those summer programs that I wanted to. And of course that like hurt. It hurt. And so I ended up just at home at the Nashville Ballet for a summer intensive. And it wasn't the same. Like, I didn't feel excited for it. I didn't feel like I was, doing the best that I could be doing. And at the same time, I got hurt. Just a slow progressive injury. I actually fractured a bone in my foot. And so I had to wear a boot. And that meant that I got out of like having to go to the camp I think I was halfway in. So maybe let's say like for 3 weeks, I missed the last part of camp. And I remember feeling happy that I didn't have to go. And I was like, what even is this? Why am I happy that I don't have to dance? I should be devastated, and I'm relieved. So I think that was really what led me to quit dancing, was because I was burned out. I just didn't feel the passion for it anymore. I wasn't keeping up with people my age. I wasn't progressing towards professionalism anymore. And so it just kind of naturally kind of fizzled out. And that summer actually happened to be the same time that I started to work at Bliss Yarns. Because my foot was broken, I started hanging out in the yarn store. And so literally like my dance being my life pretty quickly turned into knitting being my life. And that was 12 years ago, and it hasn't stopped since. So yeah, I think that was kind of like a natural transition in my life. However, you asked how my parents took it. My dad, I don't really think was like too upset. I mean, he always wanted me to go to college and, you know, follow the generic path to success. And my mom was the one who took it a little harder. I think she was just starting to wrap her brain around like my firstborn, my daughter is not going to be going to college. She's going to try to pursue this artistic career. And so it kind of took her more by surprise when I was like, I don't want to sign up for fall classes. Like after that summer, I was like, I don't want to go back to dance. I don't want to sign up for fall classes. Like I was starting my junior year in high school. And so I was like, I just want to be like a regular kid. Like I want to get a job. I want to buy a car. I want to hang out with my friends. And it ended up being really, really good. Dance took up like, I would say 3 to 4 hours every night, every day of the week, except for Friday, and then like 6 or 7 hours on Saturdays. It was a lot. And so getting that time to really like spend with my friends the last 2 years of high school was super important for me. And then also I got a job at a yarn store. So that kind of transitioned to the next stage of life. So that's my story about dancing, and kind of how it naturally, that chapter closed and a new chapter opened. So, and I can see that with you, Amy Kate. If you guys don't know, follow her. I think her Instagram is at The Dancing Needle. She is designing patterns like left and right, and a lot of them, if not all of them right now, are free patterns. So maybe this is the next chapter for you as well, but definitely go check out her Instagram account because she's got lots of great patterns on there. Okay, one more question from Amy Kate that is yarn related. She said, do you have a favorite knit or crocheted sweater or cardigan that you have made, or can you recommend a few patterns? I love making garments and I would love some recommendations. I work primarily with worsted weight if that helps. Okay, so if you guys know me, you know that I like to work with fingering weight. That's my favorite, but I do have some suggestions. So if you go to Ravelry, and I'm literally doing it right now, you click the patterns tab at the top, and then this is probably something that a lot of people ignore, but if you look over here, right there, there's actually categories. So instead of typing into the search box like sweater, go to the sweater category, which is what I'm clicking on now. And then you can see you can see designs ranked by popularity. So number 1 across the board is the flax sweater, which I believe is worsted weight by Tin Can Knits. The second is Weekender by Andrea Mowry, which I'm almost 100% is DK or worsted. So start looking through there. Those are 2 sweaters that are so popular. I've heard so many people have made them. While I haven't personally made them, I know that I would love a Weekender. So maybe one day I'll make a Weekender, but flax, Weekender, some of these other ones are, I know, fingering weight, but just start going through there like the most popular by category. These are just knitted sweaters. I think I have the knit filter on, but you can do the same thing for crochet as well and see what is popular and what people are making. I think that would really, really help. But yeah, I definitely like designs by Andrea Mowry. I think she's got really clear, well-written patterns, and I've heard the same about Tin Can Knit. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those. Okay, let's talk about some news. I know there's a lot of you eagerly waiting to see who wins the Knitting in the Hills Retreat giveaway, because that one is so amazing and epic. So I'm excited to get to the winner in just a second. But I do have a new intro video. Better late than never. I intended to kind of do it more towards the beginning of the year, but this is the time that I had to do it. So I've got a new intro video for 2020. Basically, it's a 1-minute clip that when people are new to my channel, it will be at the top. If you've been to my channel before, you will see a video that I've selected to put up there, which is typically my latest podcast episode, just to make it easy for people to go to. But new viewers to my channel will see my intro video. That way they can learn just a little bit about me, what I do when my videos are right off the bat. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't go watch it, because on there is a coupon code, a one-time use coupon code for any of my patterns to get 20% off. And while I just had a really huge giveaway with all of my patterns, so you might not need to use that coupon code yet, write it down, hang on to it, because eventually I will have more knitting patterns and crochet patterns, and you can use it for that. So new intro video is the new video this week. Even more exciting is I had a live video on Sunday. I did kind of a virtual knit and crochet group / Q&A. So that was really, really fun. I was like amazed, and I feel so blessed that there was, I think, 60 people watching at one point, which was so cool. It was really fun. There was lots of people hanging out in the chat. So while I'm the only one with the video and audio going, there's a chat on the side, and everyone can participate and chat in there. So there was lots of little side conversations going on, and then people would pop in questions or comment on what I was talking about, and it was a lot of fun. So you can go watch that as like a replay. The chat is still there on the side, so you can keep up with everything that was going on. But please stay tuned on Instagram, because I'm gonna be doing those live videos weekly for a while, just while everyone is staying home. And we need something that's consistent and that we can look forward to. I think as much fun as it is to like knit and crochet at home, there is an element of knitting and crochet that's social, and getting to interact with people like in real time, I think is even just one step more than like the Instagram, Facebook, and social media kind of world. So getting to see it live, I think, is just really exciting. So this one was on Sunday morning. I think this next one will either be Friday or Saturday evening, just to kind of change things up and make sure that everyone is getting included in that time zone. I'm trying to like think of times of day that will kind of hit all of our English speaking countries. Although I know there's so many people watching from like countries all over the world that do speak English, just trying to think like, when I do this, what time is it in the UK, or like what time is it in Australia, and kind of thinking through like those different places. And obviously what time is it in the United States, because I'm in Central Time and there are 3 other time zones. So trying to think what would be best for everyone. So typically I think I will do 10 a.m. Central Time for mornings and 6 p.m. Central Time for evenings, just to kind of hit as many different areas as I can. So pay attention to, or watch out on Instagram for announcements on those. And then also I might be doing like a knit along here in a little bit, a Helical, if you will, for helical knitting. I have my helical knitting project, my Traveler's Loop, and it's a really great one. It's a free pattern. So if you're not already helical knitting something and you've got, 2 skeins of yarn in your stash, you can grab those. Or if you already are knitting something in the round helically, that would be really, really fun. But stay tuned for that. I'll talk more about it next week. Also watch on Instagram, because I'm kind of polling people. It seems like it's pretty niche, so I'm not sure how much interest there will be in it. But if there is interest, then I definitely have plans to make it worth your while and fun, and do a tutorial and make sure everyone feels like they're ready to helical knit. Okay, last announcement. The winner of the Knitting in the Hills retreat giveaway. Now, I'm not drawing it yet because I said it would close on Wednesday and it is Tuesday. So I'm gonna have to put your name on the bottom of the screen. But this person wins a bag from Knitting in the Hills retreat last year, and then so many things that we got in our swag at the Knitting in the Hills retreat this year. 4 skeins of yarn, tons of patterns, a coffee cup, soap, and a gleaner. I think those were the things, and a pin. So amazing, amazing, amazing gifts. And the winner of that retreat is right here. So congratulations if you are the winner. Please make sure to email me, knittynatty@gmail.com, and we will talk about shipping because while right now I can probably go to the post office and be okay, I don't know what things are going to be like a few days from now. So we might have to talk about when the best time is to ship out your amazing prize and, what's going to be best and what's going to be safe. So definitely email me and we will talk about that. Okay, let's talk about life. So life is a little crazy, as I'm sure it is for everybody right now. I am currently working from home indefinitely. I had my first virtual meeting today, which was actually pretty cool. And then I have another one later this afternoon. I think that's what my days are going to be, working in between and doing meetings. So that'll be really interesting. It's actually been a dream of mine for a while to work from home. I just think that with my personality, being home is so... I just love being home and being able to I just heard my laundry go off. Go, change the laundry over real quick in between meetings, and just to be here, I think it's going to be, it's something that I've always wanted. Now, my husband does work from home. He's worked from home for over 5 years, and I can see that it's definitely kind of taken a toll on him. It's a lot. If you work from home, you're probably you don't want to work from home. But if you work out of the house, you're probably oh, I want to work from home. So now is the chance for a lot of people to see what it is really like to work from home. Is it what it's all cracked up to be? I don't know yet. But I'm definitely going to be working and doing all of the things that I can with Love and Stitches. And also with my work, it's just kind of one day at a time, seeing what I can do as an elementary school teacher and interventionist. And so, yeah, I think a lot of meetings, a lot of virtual meetings, and a lot of emails, and a lot of trying to help parents while they try to continue their kids' education at home. Another huge part of my job was testing, and our state testing was coming up. And that has been canceled for this year. So when what I would have been doing today if I were at work and all of the kids were there and this was not happening, is I would have been frantically preparing for our state testing. And now I'm not doing that. So that's a little bit of a relief, to be honest, that pressure to still try to run those kinds of things as normal is not there anymore. We're really focused on keeping everyone safe first, and then also continuing their education. We do have a lot of school districts that are just kind of we're out of school instead of actually trying to continue education. And so I'm grateful that my school district is doing everything that they can. Comes with a lot of challenges. This is only day one, so we'll see what that's going to be like. But some things that I'm doing to try to keep myself sane is and this is great because I actually was doing the same thing over spring break since it was last week. So I'm just continuing that. So this may not be for you, and I'm not saying that this is the way to do things, but this is how I'm coping with change right now. And so it might help you, or it might not be for you. So don't feel like I'm saying that this is the way to do things, but this is what I'm doing for me. Every day I set an alarm. I'm still waking up early. While not as early as I would wake up for school, I have my alarm every day set for 6:30. That's when I was waking up over spring break too. I don't know. It's just I do better when I wake up early and can get a slow start to my morning, honestly. So I'm waking up every morning with an alarm. I am getting ready every morning. I am putting on makeup. I am getting dressed. I am not wearing work clothes though. I have on sweatpants right now. This is my new uniform. But I am fully changing from pajamas into something else. Can still be comfy. And then I am starting my day with my coffee in a mug, sitting on the couch watching a little bit of TV and knitting. And that's been so wonderful. Because it is a hard time. It's not I need to be as rigid as work, but I do need routine in my life. Every day I'm writing down a few things that I would like to get done around my house. It helps me to have like a little list that I can just execute instead of kind of wandering the house like overwhelmed. What can I do next? So those are just some of the things that I'm doing. I'm still taking lunch breaks. I'm still trying to do my like lunchtime knitting and little videos for you guys. I'm going to continue doing my normal podcasting videos and then also adding in those live videos. And yeah, I'm taking my walks every day with Toaster, just trying to keep things routine. I'm trying to find my new routine and keep my new routine rather than just like letting it happen to me. I'm still trying to go to bed early. I don't know. It's like I said, it's still like very new. So just trying to figure things out. It's going to be interesting. There's also another element that I will talk about more next week, another kind of life change that's about to happen that is actually making me more anxious than just having to be home and work from home. So I'll share that next week, but yeah, that one's gonna be kind of a bigger adjustment, I think. So yeah, stay tuned next week for that one. It's gonna be fun. But bringing me joy this week, just to end things, is definitely 100% this project. Like just having something that is so fun and a challenge, something that when I'm working on it, my mind can 100% be there and I can kind of forget about the craziness that is life right now. I'm just loving it so much. And I am also thoroughly enjoying, you can see my mug has gone cold now because it's pretty much all the way black. Getting to drink coffee out of a mug every morning. I really do love that. I try to do that on the weekends when work schedule is normal anyway, wake up early and get to knit in the morning. So now that I can do that pretty much every day, I'm certainly going to be taking advantage of it. So yep, that's what's bringing me joy this week. Let me know if you've made it all the way to the end here, something that you're doing to kind of keep your routine and like what your new normal is. I would love to hear about it, and just know that I am thinking of you and sending all the good vibes your way. Please come and join my virtual knit and crochet times because it really is a lot of fun to just get to chat with you guys live and know that we're all in this together. You're not alone, and we've got this great community here, right here on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.